Hey, this is Professor G creating a mentor text analysis of what should be your draft, both practice and then eventually to your project draft for the English 101 Vaquero Trails College Career and Life Research Project. So, this is going to be a little minimalist in terms of instruction and more focusing on expectations. The time we're releasing this, the practice draft date is coming up. And so while my focus will be accomplishing practice draft objectives, we'll also be analyzing for that project draft as well, steps 4 and 5. So let's get going. First, I want to thank our student. This is a student of mine from Mesa Community College who, in the spring of 2024, really got the job done on the project. This paper is not perfection, which I think makes it a teachable text, but overall, I think the student did a solid job on the project itself. And so we're going to read Carson's project. And at that time, it was called the T-Bird Detective Eye Search when I was teaching in Mesa Community College. It's effectively the same project. The resources may differ just a jiff, obviously, because we are at Central Arizona College here. But I think this should give you a pretty good idea on expectations. So let's get to it. First, the template was given in MLA format. We see the header was put in properly, so pagination is automatic with the last name there. In terms of first name, last name, Professor Gerchik, English 101, submission date in MLA format, and her narrative title hook, The Path to Becoming a Doctor. That summarizes her ambitions and my T-Bird Detective Eye Search. So there we go. Now for step 1, here we see that heading, my case. In this case, my situation is what you'll put in here for my Central Arizona College students. My dream is to become a family medicine physician. To get to that goal, I need to obtain a bachelor's degree, gain clinical experience, and attend medical school. In high school, I enrolled in a biomedical class to gain knowledge of the medical field. After graduation, I started my undergraduate education at Mesa Community College. Here, I'm taking biology, chemistry, math, and English classes. Additionally, I started attending a pre-health club to meet like-minded people. After MCC, I will attend Arizona State University to get a bachelor's degree in biomedical science. During this time, I plan to gain clinical experience by volunteering. After ASU, I'll go to medical school. Following these steps, I'll gain a foundation of what it takes to become a doctor. Each step will take me further on my journey to becoming a family medicine physician. So, step 1 in the eye search is you narrating in detail at this point in time basically what your 5-year plan is, right? It doesn't need to be exactly 5 years in terms of you going year by year. Year 1, I'll do this. But what this is the student summarizing what she already knows about her college career and life plan. In this case, as a Mesa Community College student, I like that she's recognizing what she needs to obtain it, also the experience beyond just the degree, and eventually she knows she's going through medical school. She mentions Mesa Community College, what specific classes she's taking here and the why. She's mentioning what she's already doing for involvement. She mentions a little bit of backstory, even just a sentence or two is fine. But what she did that was somehow getting her ready for the medical field or inspiring her. And eventually she's talking about transferring from the community college to ASU as her target. And with a bachelor, I would have liked to have seen the actual name of the degree. But again, for step 1, that's okay. She knows it's going to be somewhere in biomedical science. And then that pretty much wraps up step 1. You should already be pretty good to this, my CAC students, especially after the CAC resume project. My questions. Now, what we need to understand is in an iSearch, often you'd synthesize your own questions. For this project, I gave you the first 6. You need to create one research question that meets your individual needs. What I am asking out of you for step 2 doesn't need to be terrifically long, but almost like free writing your hopes, your dreams, your fears without paying too much attention to the questions I've given you. What do you want to know? What do you feel confident about? Again, what do you recognize that you really need help with? So think of it as more like stream of consciousness free writing, almost journalizing about the questions, things you want answered, without a whole lot of guidance by me, yet still focused on the project. Here's what she came up with. I have questions on how to become a doctor, which requires a difficult journey. That's okay for many of us, especially this student, 17, 18, 19 years old, somewhere in that range. Uh, she knows she wants to be a doctor, but she recognizes that that comes with a lot of questions, which should apply to any profession. Good. What resources do Mesa Community College and ASU, Arizona State University, have that can help me through my education? Furthermore, what clubs and other social events do these colleges offer? Good question. How do I gain the clinical experience I need to get into medical school beyond just passing classes, actually getting authentic experience that builds skills and resumes? Since medical school is expensive, what financial aid will I be able to receive? Okay. She's very focused on medical school. Which classes should I take to satisfy medical school prerequisites? Okay. I think one of the things to understand is you should be aligning the degree to the possible, in this case, medical school degree. What I am seeing is it's good she's thinking long term, but she may be thinking a little more strategically about ASU and the degree she's attaining. At this point in time, I still don't know what the exact degree is she's going after. It's okay. Also, other questions of hers. How can I maintain a high GPA and achieve a competitive MCAT score? MCAT is the entrance exam to get into medical school. Again, great question. How do you balance achievement in school and the high test scores? If I do not get into medical school, what other opportunities exist? That is a great question. We have our dreams, but rejection is often part of life. Next, during this project, I'll answer these questions so I can be more confident during my path to becoming a doctor. Okay. Step one and step two, she's solid. Now we get into step three, and this is the real heart of the entire project for that matter. Step one is, what do you already know about the topic? Step two, what do you want to know? Step three, in this case, this is where the real research takes place. The first six questions, again, I'm giving you, and you need to investigate them. If you are an in person student, face to face, you don't have the option. You must be using generative AI to address the question, for now, ChatGPT. If you are online, I've given you the option to use ChatGPT. I'm going to discuss this from the beginning. This is to be used if you are letting ChatGPT do the writing for you. It needs to be crystal clear that is academic plagiarism. What you can do, and I want you to explore, is think of using ChatGPT as a research tool. You will cite it as an interview, even though it's not a human being. You'll cite it as if one ongoing chat throughout the project, where for each of the research questions, have it help you say, how do I approach this question? Give me 10 strategies or 10 resources that I might consult to gain insight on this. You're going to have to do your own critical thinking, but you're using ChatGPT and its large language model capabilities to really be able to critically think. So look forward to that. So here we go. Step three, my investigation. To answer my questions, I'll investigate various websites, interview my academic advisor at MCC. Good. Remember, you have to do one topic expert prior to the end of the practice draft, and use ChatGPT as a research tool. So now we get into the questions. So this first question is italicized. What are my life goals, and how can my college education and career paths, support these goals? So that admittedly is a challenging question to research. Some notification that you can use a variety of resources. You may have a pretty good idea about life goals, but if you're a CAC student, you got that life hack article, which gives you some ideas, at least ways to start fleshing out what your life goals may be. And how can my college education and career path support these goals? So let's see what the author came up with. First, for anytime you see a research question, I expect a paragraph, sorry, a mini paragraph, really no longer than this, somewhere in that range. And it just focuses on identifying how you are approaching your research, summarizing it with a little transition into the research itself. Here's what she came up with. To investigate how my education and future career can support my life goals, I first identified my life goals: to be happy, healthy, financially stable, and to continue learning about the world. Okay, those are her priorities. There could be a little bit more in terms of living situation, uh, goals, including chronologically. Some people, often many people, want to have children. Many people do not. It's really your prerogative, but also consider what might be the timeline for that if you were to have some say over that. And then also, we have wellness in terms of the health, happiness, which for each individual may entail different things. She's somebody who wants to continue learning about the world. Great, those are her priorities. Then I researched my school's extracurricular activities and the positive outcomes of being a physician. So she's trying to find out positive outcomes along with these life goals of being a physician. Here's what I found. Notice how she's writing in the past tense. By the time that you submit your practice draft, you should be done with your research. Chronologically, she chooses to address this question in terms of where did she go first, summarization of the resource, what did she gain, and where to next. Here we go. First, I went to Mesa Community College's clubs and organization page. This website lists the benefits of joining a club. One benefit that I found interesting was social skills. As a child, I struggled with making friends. A club could be a way for me to make friends and be more confident in talking to people. The page claims, here's the evidence, learning how to interact with other people. I like that she uses the ellipses. She cuts down the unnecessary from the quote. Can be a huge benefit as you move into the working world. This makes me realize how important social skills are for an aspiring physician. Okay, I could critique the level of idea development a little bit, but what I do like is the project is about using the 12 resources that I mandate. You're capable of looking them up. They're linked and listed in the practice draft as well as other project materials. So she goes to the clubs and organizations page for Mesa Community College. Uh, she finds that learning how to interact with others can be a huge benefit in the working world. She probably didn't need to read that off a page to understand that, but this project, as I'm holding you, the student, accountable, isn't about being perfect. It's about going through the process of the prescribed resources, the prescribed questions, plus that free choice question of your own, and going through the process of informing yourself more by narrating your story, identifying and using evidence of new findings, and then bringing in the reasoning to connect what it is you're trying to learn, what evidence you found, and your key takeaways from it: claims, reasons, and evidence. That is the building block of thinking, critical thinking in college. And so far, she's doing a pretty good job. Next, the Occupational Outlook Handbook from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics states physicians and surgeons need to convey information effectively to their patients. Gaining effective communication skills can increase my happiness by allowing me to make friends. So, what I like is she explores the social benefits from the idea of clubs and organizations from her school. In your case, it's Central Arizona College, hers was MCC's. But also, she was reading about the profession, not just looking up basics like salaries and job demand, but she obviously did some, at least some, if not all, of the reading on the article about physicians and what the profession entails by bringing this together. That not only is this good for social skills in a professional environment, but physicians need to gain social skills to convey information effectively to their patients. And then she didn't just leave the evidence hanging. Gaining effective communication skills can increase my happiness by allowing me to make friends. Okay, pretty good stuff. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more rationale here. on examples on how conveying information effectively can impact patient care. She kind of brought it out to making friends, so it got a little off topic. All things considered, it's a solid paragraph. Then she transitions. First paragraph began with first, next one is then. Then I browse for information about how being a physician can support my life goals. Ferguson's Career Guidance Center lists the median salary of a physician as $208,000. Money is not everything, but it'll ensure that I'm financially stable throughout my life. I think that's a fair comment. Um, I like before, she's using parenthetical citation. It's not perfect, but it's there. Here, she's using in-text citation. She cites Ferguson's Career Center as a source, and then the statistic. Money is not everything, but I'll ensure that I'm financially stable through my life. Good. The site also suggests, second piece of evidence in the paragraph, doctors usually can earn benefits such as health and dental insurance, paid vacations, and the opportunity to participate in retirement plans. Good. Here she's parenthetically citing it by the title of the article. Health and dental insurance can influence good health, while paid vacations create a healthy work life balance. Although I'm too young to worry about retirement plans now, they'll be helpful when I get older. This resource effectively answered my question by reassuring me that my life goals will be met when I become a doctor. I'm not sure if it totally answers the question, the resources she's gone through, but she is learning and gaining and thinking in more detail. She's thinking about retirement plan, clubs to join, median salaries, necessary skills, things like insurance, paid vacation, pretty solid stuff. Now, she also balances this out with evidence from this particular research question of consulting ChatGPT at some point in this research section. To get more insight, I asked ChatGPT how my education and career path can support my life goals. It suggested, so this is the quote chosen by her from the chat, a career in family medicine can contribute to your happiness as it aligns with your passion for helping others and making a difference in people's lives. Okay? This makes me realize that by being a doctor, I can make my patients happier and in turn make myself happy. So again, while ChatGPT probably isn't going to want to be, you don't want to make that your first and last choice in terms of interviewing a topic expert. That's what it came up with. And it brings into the idea of fulfillment, self fulfillment by making others happy and healthy. ChatGPT also states medicine is a field that constantly evolves with discoveries, technologies, and treatment modalities. And here's her response, our author. This will satisfy my goal of being a lifelong learner. Good. She prioritizes being a lifelong learner, and because medicine is certainly a field that's going to continue to rapidly evolve, that intellectually stimulates this author, and it suggests that this career is a match to her life goals. And here she's summing up the section. Overall, ChatGPT was helpful by teaching me another way that becoming a physician can align with my life goals. Her conclusion to the section itself. These resources were useful, but I need to research how I can be financially stable before becoming a physician. So I think that's outstanding. She is recognizing that she's learning more about aligning her education and her career goals of becoming a physician and how they line up with her life goals. She's given me information that is detailed and that she may have not known previously. Now she's also recognizing in the end, she's reflecting after her research what she's gained, key takeaways, and recognizing also what she needs to learn. These resources were useful, but I need to research how I can be financially stable before being a physician. So that is yet another question that she should be responding to later on in her research. But it's a sign of intelligence. She's recognizing it's great that the outcome of being a physician is good, but how does she maintain financial stability so her path is more likely to be successful and balanced? Little transition to the next section. Next, I'll address what factors can affect my life goals. So that's a lead into the second research sub question I've given you. This will be the only section that I go over really word for word. On the whole, she met the basic requirements, at least two outside resources. She used claims, reasoning, and evidence to research the question, sorry. She's got an introductory paragraph with a transition. She's maintaining a pretty good job of MLA format. It's not perfect, but it's solid. And she's got her introduction summarizing how she strategized researching, transition. Each paragraph has a clear organizing principle, good transitions behind the paragraphs. Again, not perfect, but an honest attempt to cite her sources. We see evidence is supported by analysis. I see information here from credible sources that wasn't in there before. So the author is learning new things. That's expository research. At the end of the section, she is fully addressing the prompt. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more idea development in this section conclusion, but what I see is that she's acknowledging the usefulness. She's recognizing what she also needs to know to learn in the future, and she is transitioning to the next section. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to spend much time on what she produced. I'm just going to summarize the expectations on how you should be approaching our next 5 research questions, and then we'll get to the free choice. So, next question: what SWOT strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats do I have that can impact achievement of my college and career aligned life goals? Again, SWOT, you need to read that Pepperdine Business article. SWOT is a business concept. What are your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? And so I should see some evidence of her consulting ChatGPT. She should be reading the article, Guide to a Personal SWOT Analysis, and I should see quoted evidence from the article. And then from there, it is free choice. Recognize that to understand a SWOT analysis, that is your self analysis of your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats to achieve your college, career, and life goals. One of the things is from that topic expert interview, she met with an academic advisor at her college. You have been encouraged from even before the beginning of this project to do the same at CAC. So we see that she is citing some evidence from the interview. Now, your interview, some of it can be cited to answer this question. Some of it can be cited to, frankly, answer any of the other questions. So I like that she's citing it here. Um, she is also laying on the line, and I'm starting to see some evidence where she's going back to perhaps her academic pathway maps, even going into her resume, which you certainly can do. And she is identifying some of her strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. She's putting it in context of her education and career path. And she's citing ChatGPT, right? Using it as a research assistant. And again, not having ChatGPT do the writing, but interviewing. What do you think of this? Here are some of my qualifications. Where can I get stronger? And so forth. And notice this section is going to be requiring a lot more writing because based on demonstrated research, you, as she has successfully done, need to write a little paragraph on your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and threats. Based on my research, here's my personal SWOT analysis beginning with strengths. So here is a summary of her strengths based on evidence and looping back to it, talking about science being her favorite subject in school, prerequisites, and that she's aiming to go after them. Weaknesses, she identifies the need to continue to have a high GPA. The thing is she actually had a 3.7 high school GPA, which is pretty darn good. So I don't know if it would be an entire weakness. One of the things that she might have cited, as you can, is part of a weakness isn't necessarily a negativity. What areas in your academic discipline do you just not have the knowledge yet and you need to? She could have listed a little bit more detailed there. Now, opportunities can or should be unique to each individual. One, she sees opportunity of working as a doctor in a rural community and engaging in extracurricular activities. Those are opportunities for success. She's recognizing that some rural communities have less medical care, and therefore there may be opportunities out there for better employment and successful practices. She also sees if she works in a rural community, she'll find financial stability. I'd like to see the evidence to back that up. It's not a bad thought, but it's missing evidence. Um, and she's getting into extracurricular activities or opportunities for her. I would like to have seen a little bit more in terms of financial opportunities, such as scholarship opportunities either at MCC and if ASU is a possible transfer school there. Again, the writing doesn't need to be long, but the evidence should be detailed. And threats, she mentions medical school competition, which absolutely makes sense. Healthy work-life balance, absolutely. That is a threat for somebody entering a high-stress profession. And overall, what might happen if her career takes a little turn, maybe instead of becoming a doctor, that opportunity is threatened. Are there other avenues? So she recognizes that the research is helpful, but she needs to research better strategies on how she can overcome the weaknesses and the threats, including the industry. So she transfers into the industry, and here we go. This one, this next research sub question, you're going to use a SWOT analysis, so you should be gaining familiar with the framework. Although the evidence is going to be a lot less, obviously, about you, although you can mention it, but it's about your industry itself. What are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for a new job applicant, right, entering this industry? So I'm going to skip over deep analysis of this section, but this is where you should be looking at job sites. You have the Career and Occupational Outlook Handbook. You can cite evidence from your topic expert interviews. So the industry itself. What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? What are the opportunities and what are the threats within the industry? Something that I personally recommend that everybody on this project does is somehow research what is artificial intelligence's impact. You can also take a look at what is automation's impact potentially going to be on this industry. Also, for everybody, what varying levels of degrees are necessary for this industry? Some industries have much greater barriers to entry, including time and money and education, than others do. So, this is her SWOT analysis. And then let's go right to the end. Ending of the section. Again, just a brief concluding paragraph. Now I need to determine how I can overcome these industry weaknesses and threats. Following this, I'll investigate which degrees I need to become a doctor. Good. That leads to our next question. Remember, for each of you, what success looks like may be very different. What degrees and or certificates could I earn for this career at MCC and beyond? Again, for you, it's at CAC and beyond. Associate's degrees, bachelor's degrees, master's, doctorals, licenses. And what are my pros and cons for each education path? So I should see a research listing in this section using your academic pathway maps. You have access to those. Also, be aware of what actual degrees and even job opportunities might be out there. This one, though, focuses on degrees and certificates, and that's where you need to make sure that your academic pathway maps line up with what your goals are. So, is it a certain certificate? Fine. But what if you decide to go beyond just getting a certificate? Then what's necessary for the associate's degree? Then, as part of your associates, how does that transfer to the institution where perhaps there may be a bachelor's degree or a bachelor's master's combined program, and so forth and so forth. And then again, pros and cons. Which scenarios have you